Hello again. We're back with episode 2, and it's only a week after the first one, so I'm doing pretty well with consistency so far. This week, I want to talk about the Northwest Champs and the Northwest Bench that was on the weekend just gone. I had quite a few lifters there myself, and there was a couple of people from the gym as well. And so it was a really good showing for the gym. It was a good showing for my lifters. And I also benched myself, got myself back on the platform for the first time in 2 years. Uh, but yeah, I'll get to me in a bit. For now, I want to talk about everyone else. So we had Connor doing bench only in the morning, and Connor was doing equipped. So this was actually my first time handling equipped at a competition for bench. Anyway, I've done. Piotr did some wrap squats a few years ago, so I've done handling for equipped squat in that sense. Depends on your definition of equipped, really. But yeah, my first time handling equipped bench, which is very different to raw bench. If you've never done it before, I definitely suggest you find a session where it's happening. We have quite a lot going on in the Northwest. And just see what you think. Like, either have a go or just sort of get involved with the coaching side of things or the handling side of things. It's interesting. And it's definitely a different kettle of fish to raw bench. So Connor opened on 177.5 and his goal was to go for 185 and get the British QT. So he got 177.5 on his first attempt, which he got, I believe, 3 white lights on. He definitely passed. And then we went for 185 and he missed it, basically. Wasn't anything too dramatic, it just wasn't quite there. But luckily, in the warm-up area, we had Kate Sweatman, who is one of the best equipped benches in Britain, basically. And she was just there to help, which is a very powerlifting thing to happen. Like having a world-class lifter just sort of there available and willing to just help out. So she turned to me and she said, like, I can adjust the shape for you if you want, and then, just go for 185 then. So we did that. I wasn't going to say no to that kind of help. I remember when I peeked around the corner and saw Connor getting his shirt adjusted, he looked very, very concerned. But it worked. So on his third attempt, he went for 185 and he got it. So as a result, he's the Northwest 105 equipped bench champ for this year. And it also means that he's qualified for British bench next month, which is exciting as well. So yeah, so really happy with that. Really happy for Connor. I'm glad that he qualified. I'm glad that he got the lifts that he wanted. You'll have seen the videos on Instagram if you follow. If not, you can go and have a check. We also had from the gym, we had Sophie in the morning and we had Christina in the morning. I no longer coach these two. Sophie still comes to group sessions and she's great to have around. Christina's still a member and both of them did really well. So Sophie got her 75 kilo opener in equipped bench, which means that she is qualified for British bench as well. And then Christina got 87.5, which I think it was a gold medal for both of them again. So another couple of really good showings for the gym there. And then I lifted myself. For me, it was just about sort of getting back on the platform because I haven't competed since September 2022. So it's been a while. And I was looking at it thinking, I'm already going to be there. I don't have too much going on in the morning with bench. So I was just handling Connor. And I was going to be in a different flight to him. So I thought, I'll just jump in, just do it myself. And I did. Training the weeks beforehand didn't go great because just real life getting in the way. But I managed to get 2 lifts in, which got me a silver medal. So I'm happy with that. And I don't know what I'm going to do about powerlifting next year, but I have a membership, so I may as well. But we'll come to that at some point. Who knows when. And then in the afternoon, I had 4 people lifting. I had Lisa, I had Linda and Jessie, who were a nan and granddaughter, if you weren't aware, and Claire. Now, we had Lisa in flight A, and unfortunately she actually bombed on squats, which is the first time I've had that happen with a client, to be fair. However, she responded to it really well, and I'm positive that she'll do well in this next training block. Essentially, in the warm-up area, her last squat was absolutely fine. Me and Sophie were both qualified referees. We both looked at it and said, yeah, do that on the platform and you'll be okay. and then we just couldn't replicate it on the platform, basically. Lisa decided to carry on and do bench, which she did really well in. She got all three in, they were all good. She got 55 kilo. And then, unfortunately, when she was warming up for deadlifts, her back started hurting. And at that point, it wasn't worth pushing. So we called it there. To be fair, Lisa only started with me in September, and she'd just come straight off a competition prep then. And she had hurt her back during that comp prep. So, and then she'd pretty much straight away entered the Northwest Champs. So ideally, at that point, we would have backed off a little bit, hopefully eased the back issues and fixed any technical issues that we could have that would have contributed to any back issues. But because we were going straight to another competition, we kind of had to balance trying to organise the back issues, but also get her a little bit stronger and ready for competition. And unfortunately, just didn't quite work this time. But as I said, we've got a training plan going forward. I've got a few things in place for her, which I'm sure she'll find very frustrating for a little bit. I've told her that as well. But it will come good and she'll do well. She's got a lot of potential. She's very strong. She just needs to sort of fix the back issues, really, and we'll go from there. So, yeah. Next up was Claire. Claire also went into this competition a little bit, not worse for wear, but she had a bit of a shoulder issue a couple of weeks out, which it wasn't really a terrible injury or anything like that. It was just one of those that was bad enough to sort of affect training, but not bad enough to stop any sort of training. So she had a bit of a rotator cuff issue. And going into it, until that injury, going into it, her training was flying. So she's hit squat PBs, she hit bench PBs, she's hit deadlift PBs, and it was all going really well. On the day, Claire managed to get an 87.5 kilo squat on a second attempt, which is actually a 2.5 kilo PB. Unfortunately, she just couldn't quite get 92.5. She has done 90 in the gym, which, as I said, would have been a 5 or a 7.5 kilo comp PB. And then for bench, we took it a little bit easier. We were with the 42.5, which was okay. And then we went 45, which was also okay. And then 47.5 just wasn't quite there on the day, and that would have matched their comp PB. And then on deadlift, she got 107.5 in, which again was a comp PB. And then we went for 115, but there was a little bit of downward movement at the top. And I basically said to her, we're already looking at a total. You've matched your comp PB. The 115 moved quickly. You've definitely got the strength there. Why don't we just try and push it a little bit more and just see if we can clean up the technique on a slightly heavier weight? And she initially thought that I meant 117.5, but I didn't. I meant 120. So I put 120 in, which she panicked about initially. But then she went for it. Again, a little bit of downward movement, but she was insistent on finishing the lift. And I'm happy for her because it meant that she was able to see that she could move 120 kilo, even after making it a bit more difficult for herself by going a little bit down first. But it does mean that she knows that when she has a comp prep where she's not injured, and then when she has a better day, she knows that she can also pull 120, which is massive for someone who was very, very nervous about starting last year. And on her first session, she did deadlift 75, to be fair, but 120 kilos is a huge lift for anyone, I think. It definitely shouldn't be understated. So she ended up with matching her comp PB, but we could have played it a bit safer and got maybe a slightly bigger competition total PB, but I think going forward, the confidence that she's gained from this kind of thing will help. So next up, we had Linda and Jessie. So Linda is, as you've probably seen me say, is 75, which is very impressive because she only started powerlifting this year when she was 75. And then her granddaughter, Jessie, who is 17. So I think that's amazing, just having the two of them competing together. They train together sometimes in the gym as well. So I train Linda twice a week, and Jessie comes along for one of those sessions. And Linda did a competition in March, and she didn't really know what she was doing in terms of commands or anything like that. But she bombed out on the squat. I believe she got a couple of benches in, and then a couple of deadlifts in as well. This is back in March. So when she came to me in September, I believe it was, the focus was just on competition-specific training, just so that she'd get the commands in and wouldn't know how they work. And now she will not let her do a bench session without me doing commands for her, which is a good thing, really, because that just means that she's more practiced in really competition-specific stuff. So at this competition, we opened easy. We went 57.5 on squat, which she absolutely smashed. So we went 62.5, which is the most we've done in training to commands and to good depth. And then that was dead easy as well. And then we went 67.5, which was just an all-out PB for it. And then for bench, again, we kept it quite conservative because really, as a Masters 4, all she needed to do was get one lift in each, and she's qualified for British. So it was a case of keeping it easy, but also pushing forward a little bit. So bench, she went 37.5, absolutely fine. 40, absolutely fine. 42.5, absolutely fine. So far, 6 for 6, all good. And then on deadlift, we opened 82.5, which was really easy for her. And then I think we went to 90, if I remember rightly, which was also fine. And then at that point, I was considering anywhere between 95 and 100. And I said to her, I was like, should we just go for 100? Because if you're going to get anywhere, it's going to be today. And it's going to be at this venue. So why not? So she agreed. We went for 100. And it was fine. It was lovely. So she ended up going 9 for 9, getting a 100 kilo deadlift and a 210 kilo total. And my goal was to just try and get it as close to a 100 kilo deadlift and a 200 kilo total as we could. And she absolutely smashed it. So I'm very happy for her. And she had more than the tank as well. She probably could have gotten maybe 5 kilo more on squat, maybe 2.5 kilo more on bench, and probably 2.5, 5 kilo more on deadlift as well. So we're looking at like an extra 12.5 kilo there, which is amazing for a Masters 4, basically. And not to be outdone, her granddaughter Jessie competed. And as I said, she's 17 and she's a 76 kilo lifter, which there aren't many of in the sub-juniors in the Northwest. So it meant that if we matched the standards or beat them for squat and bench, then she'd have those records. And the standard for squat was 110, and Jessie was open 95, so we went 95, 102.5, and then we went straight to 111 so that we could beat that record, which she did, and it was fine. It was good. It was a good squat. She definitely had more on it. The bench standard was only 55, and Jessie was open on a 67.5. She had a ridiculously good bench. And I'm looking forward to improving that even more. So she opened 67.5. Then we went 73 because it was a record attempt and we could be awkward like that. And then we went 76 because, as I said, record attempt and making it awkward. And then for deadlift, we went 125, 135, and then 142.5. Now, the deadlift record was set at 152.5, so we didn't get that. But we got the squat, bench, and total record. So the total Jessie ended up with was 329.5, which I've looked into as well, and it's the second biggest 76 kilo sub junior total in the country this year, which nothing to be sniffed at. So she's looking at doing Northwest Juniors and then British Juniors early next year. I think Northwest Juniors is February and then British Juniors is end of March. So she's definitely one to watch out for. She's going to improve quite a bit. And then her nan, Linda, is looking at doing Northwest Masters, which I think is early March, and then British Masters, which will be June. So they're both going to do great, and I think it's amazing. The nan and granddaughter. I've never coached grandparents and grandchild before. I've coached parents and child a couple of times, but yeah, it's great. And then Sunday we had Stephen Dum, who is an online client of mine and has been for a while. The last time Stephen competed, he was coming back off an injury, and then the actual competition day was like a little bit hit and miss. But this time things were going a bit better. We made sure that his depth was more consistent throughout training, which it was. And then on the day, he went 3 for 3 on squat, and he ended up with a 167.5 kilo squat, which was a PB by, I think, 12.5 kilo, which, is nothing to be sniffed at all. And he probably could have gone 170 as well. So, 175 kind of numbers, like 3 reds just around the corner for him. Bench, our goal was to try and get to 100. He went 90, 95, and the 95 was lovely. So we went for the 100. it just wasn't quite there. I'm not quite sure if it was just set up or what, but it just didn't lock out. But judging by the 95, it was worth going for. It would have been a waste to go for like 7.5. Deadlift, we went 175, 185, and then I was planning for around 185, but Stephen really wanted to go for around 200. If he'd have told me that beforehand, I'd have given him probably 187.5 or 190 on the second attempt. I know it doesn't sound like much difference, but it does count. So he went for 200, and to be fair, he got pretty close with it. So I think, similar to Claire earlier in this podcast I mentioned, I think it was worth doing just so that he could see how far away he was, and he's not going to be scared of it in future, because he pretty much got it up. He just needed to sort of lock it out a bit smoother. So he improved a fair bit as well. So I think his competition total PB was either 12.5 kilo or 15 kilo more. Maybe 15. Yeah, I think it was 15 because I think the squat was a 12.5 kilo PB. The bench was 2.5. Oh, no, sorry. It was 12.5 kilo PB altogether. So yeah, so he got a PB anyway. So he's definitely still improving. And as I've spoken to him, if he stays consistent with his training, he'll just keep improving. He'll just keep doing better. So yeah, there's a rundown of the 8 people, I think it was, at the Northwest on the weekend. It was a really good competition. It was well run. People involved were all great, as always when it is with the Northwest overall. But yeah, I'm just really happy for my guys. They did great. I did a little bit myself as well, so pretty successful. The next competition we've got going on, well, I'm going to support Coach B on Saturday because she's going to compete in the English and weightlifting. I haven't got anyone going to that, obviously, because I don't coach weightlifting. But the next competition that people are building up for at the minute is British Bench in Equipped, which is the the 18th and 19th of January. And then after that, we've got a couple of comps in Feb where we've got our own competition, which is Powerlifting Doubles. And then Northwest Juniors is that month as well. So I think I've got 2 at the minute for Northwest Juniors. We've got Jessie, who I mentioned before, and Maisie, who last competed in September. I think they'll both do great in that as well. And then, yeah, after that, it's just sort of, I think I'll have a few doing Spring Showdown, which is in the middle of March. And then, just as I mentioned before, Linda doing Masters. And then maybe someone like Claire doing Masters as well. But we'll see. We'll definitely see my face around at these competitions going forward, because you won't be able to get rid of me. No idea what I'm going to do myself in terms of competing. But as I say, I do have a membership now, so it would be a waste to not compete. Yeah, so that's the main stuff I want to talk about, really. So this one's been a little bit shorter, but I don't want to risk rambling on too much. Yeah, I'm really happy with how the competitions have gone. It's the bread and butter of what we do, of what I do. Coaching's really important to me, and I love the on-the-day stuff. Didn't have much to do in terms of like strategy or anything this time, but it was lovely to be able to put in weird numbers for records. I always like doing that, and I hope I get to do that some more soon. Yeah, if you were at Northwest and you had a good time there, congratulations. I hope you did well. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any comments or questions or anything like that, please feel free to get in touch. I'm going to end all of these episodes with just a sort of call to action. If you want to get involved in terms of coaching, or if you want to join the gym or anything like that, please feel free to get in touch. I'm happy to talk about it. And if you get in touch but then don't join or whatever, I'll be fine. Don't worry. I'm not going to be a pain to you. That seems to be a worry for some people. Not with me specifically, but you know what I mean. But yeah, if you want to get involved, let me know. I'm happy to work with you, and then we'll see how much stronger we can get you. And hopefully, the previous 19 and a half minutes of this podcast will prove to you that people that do work with me do get stronger, and it's not all about just throwing the biggest number up we can. Sometimes it's about proving a little bit of confidence, and just sort of improving like competition experience and that kind of thing as well. So yeah, if you like the approach, get in touch. If you've got any comments or queries or anything like that, please let me know. I'm happy to help. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys next time.